yesterday facing the press for the first time since the notice of allegations has been served to the LSU athletic office on basketball and football. And I thought that his statement, he can't say much here. And really he is he's under a pretty strict gag order on all of this news where he cannot give any information. He cannot give any point of view. And look, journalists and writers and press media personnel all have jobs to do. So people have to ask the questions and there has to be follow-ups. And, I think people are trying to present that as respectful and as, diligent as they can. But Wade, has reiterated numerous times throughout this entire investigation. This isn't anything new from the standpoint of LSU or its head coach, that they just can't comment on it. They can't say anything. But as Wade referenced yesterday, and I thought that it was, kind of good to see, but, he can't wait for the day until he can, right? Where he can give his side of the story. Because if you think about it, I mean, one thing that we have not heard in the public is a true testimony from Will Wade on just all of this, right? Both from just an emotional toll to a mental toll to, the day-to-day operations of, going to your profession, being a basketball coach. And then, what is all this? What's going on? I mean, at some point, he's going to have a 60-minute style interview that he'll be able to explain what the last 4 years have been like at LSU, no matter the outcome, right? No matter if it's LSU retains or whatever happens in the future for Will Wade.
But so it's good that he's not commenting now, right?
Absolutely.
He doesn't need to say anything in the middle of
this. No, there's not. And there's nothing really to say.
Right.
I mean, from the standpoint of the notice of allegations have been served, LSU now has the ball is now kind of in their court to keep the communication going, and this is something that could extend into the summer, and maybe even later.
Yeah.
So it was good to see and hear Wade speak on it for the first time, even though there was nothing that was really said. He did give you a little insight onto how the team is motivated. I thought that the team's play yesterday was a little indicative to where they are in the news cycle. I think that, when you got guys like Darius Days in the program who has, seen this since the inception of it, has been around since the earliest of, accusations lobbed at LSU basketball, that, this go around, they seemed very motivated and, as Wade said, very narrowly focused on what the task at hand right now is for LSU basketball. And, like Coach Wade said, not 24 hours ago, they came to Tampa Bay to play basketball. That's it. They're in Tampa to play basketball, and it looked like they got off to a good start in that opening round to play. And all that stuff is going to take care of itself off the court in due time when LSU responds and people have an idea of what's going on. But at this point, it's just a part of the process where it's still in a sealed envelope and the public just doesn't know the entire story. And until we hear it, until we find out, then, I think that will continue to be the stance of Wade and the LSU basketball program. Just can't talk about it. Just can't say anything. And like he said, he looks forward to the day that he can. But on the floor, LSU takes care of business, and the story is Efton Reed, right? I mean, Reed, this is the first time that you've seen Reed play as dominant on both ends of the floor as he did yesterday. In 22 minutes of action, Reed was 6 of 6 from the field. He had 1 offensive rebound. He had an assist, a steal, 2 blocks, and 12 points. And his offensive game looked very confident. He looked as if he was the aggressor. He was the one that was almost taking the fight to the defensive player. The step through that he made underneath the goal, I thought was a beautiful move. The turnaround hook was beautiful. The mid-range jump shot in the corner, the follow-up dunk with the aggressive play. All of that was fun to watch. Efton Reed, I mean, a 5-star guy out of IMG. That was kind of the guy and the prospect that everybody's been waiting to see for 40 minutes or through a complete game. Didn't get into foul trouble really until the end, which is something that has plagued him all season long, just not being able to stay out on the floor consistently. And for him to stay out there and have that type of impact, hopefully that can carry over today because he's got his hands full with Jaden Williams, who we've seen, Jalen Williams.
Jalen. All I know is he's all SEC first
Williams.
team.
And Wade called him yesterday. He said he may not be the best player in the league, but he's the most valuable player in the league.
Oh, charge man?
Yeah, 43 charges he's taken this season. 3 of them against LSU. Whether we can debate whether they were charges or not, I get it. But, I mean, to have 43 charges as a big man, that's an incredible stat. That's an incredible number.
It's a dedication to the craft.
I mean, he understands the assignment.
Absolutely.
Right?
I just don't know who wants to be that guy. It used to, I mean, Coach K's got to be rolling over in his grave. That's a Duke
How'd you
basketball
miss him?
player. Yes.
But
Slap the
LSU,
floor.
a team that, you've played now 3 times. This will be the 3rd time that LSU and Arkansas have played.
Jordy.
And it has been a tip.
The name is Jalen Williams.
Jalen Williams. In death, his name is Robert Paulson.
Sorry about that.
You don't know my name today. But I want to back up a little bit because I think what Will Wade said during that one little nugget that he threw out there when he said, I look forward to commenting on it when I can. Don't you think that's indicative of what he thinks this NOA means for him?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this means that was about as cocky as you can be without saying anything. Don't you think?
Yeah, but I
It
mean,
made him feel like he's in his mind, he's not really worried about this at all.
well, to what I understand, and again, I'm talking to people that I believe have the information, is that there's nothing new about basketball in that notice of allegation. Everything that is involved with basketball has been known to LSU, and it has been discovered by the NCAA through this first investigation that, started 4 years ago. And since then, since coming back around and asking questions and looking for answers on certain things, they have not been able to gather any new information. Like I said, on these notice of allegations, the NCAA has to come in here and prove. We've all heard tales. We've all heard stories. We've all heard these fantasies that people make up about paying 11 student athletes. Some of them didn't even end up at LSU. I mean, that is amazing to say out loud. I have a friendship with Wade. He and I, over lunch, I've been like, 11? And he's like, are you out of your mind? Do you think that I would have first the balls to do that after what I've gone through? There's no possible. I mean, they said it happened in 2019, 2020. There's no way that happened, because if it would have, even the allegation of it would have gotten him fired. If it was truly something to it and it was alleged, and when it was alleged, don't think that LSU didn't do their due diligence to find out if it was true. That's one thing that we always have to keep in mind here, is that LSU's compliance department has been a vice grip for the last decade plus. They threw Tyrann Mathieu off the team for smoking weed. I mean, if Will Wade was out there and he was doing something even remotely shady after what happened in 2017, 2018, he gets run immediately. He knew it. He signed it over when he reconstructed his contract when they brought him back. After he cut his own legs out from under himself and takes away all the financial perks if he doesn't have his job, signed it away. We really believe, after doing all that and going through the stress and putting his family through all that mess that he went through in 2018, That in 2019, 2020, he's going to pay guys that may not even end up here? And not get caught? And still have his job and make comments like he did yesterday? Where he knows the truth. Sheldon Mickles followed him up and asked him, have you seen the notice of allegations? I don't know if he's seen it, but Mickles asked him if he knew what was in it. And he said, I can't comment on it. I don't know if he does or he doesn't, but if I was betting on it, I bet he does. And by like that comment, like Lloyd pointed out, he understands that there's nothing new in there. You're not going to learn anything that you didn't already know. So, I look forward to the day that he can tell his side of the story.
Me too.
Just for himself, really. That's
the show.
It's got to be incredibly stressful to work under. But, look, this is by no means is it over. By no means has anything been ruled upon. But I thought it was refreshing to see his ease of mind in the brief statement that he was able to make about it. And it was also good to see the way his team played, which they look like they're getting right at the right part of the season. Now, can Efton Reed carry that over against a guy like Jalen Williams? Right? I mean, Missouri was trying to body him up. They just couldn't square him up. He was too big, too physical, and too skilled yesterday to be defended.
And a lot of that was because he stayed out of foul trouble. He was able to stay on the floor and get comfortable because he catches early fouls so often in games he can never really get into the rhythm. So him being able to stay out of foul trouble early, be able to find his footing offensively and be able to get in the rhythm of the game, I think made all the difference in the world, especially for a young player.
Yeah.
Get to be a part of the team.
And he's a totally difference, he's a difference maker for LSU when he's able to stay on the floor, not only for his own production, but for the rotation, right? Like you're able to keep guys now a little bit more fresh. You're able to keep guys minutes restricted when you're playing a back-to-back game like LSU does today that's going to be very physical. I mean, Wade said it yesterday in the postgame. This schedule favors Arkansas just because LSU had to extend a couple of guys' minutes yesterday in a physical game. And now you're squaring back up with one of the heaviest punchers in the league in Arkansas, and it's going to be a heavyweight fight. Because the previous two times that they've met, I mean, what's the scoring differential in the two games? I mean, Arkansas's won the two games by, I think, 3 points combined?
Probably. Was it 1 point the last meeting?
It was a point in Fayetteville, and I think it was a bucket in Baton Rouge. And LSU should have won both of them. I'm not trying to play shoulda, coulda, woulda, but they had their chances, man.
The first game, it was 65-58.
Okay.
And
that's 7.
So that was
8 points.
Eight
last game, it was 77-76.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So
the one in Baton Rouge got away from him at the end, but LSU was in control of that game. I mean, was that the 9-minute scoring drought game?
Mm-hmm.
That was the 9-minute scoring drought game where they had the big lead, and they just couldn't find it.
And you saw a little bit of that yesterday. I know the game was in hand, but that Will Wade commented on it in his post-game presser where he was saying that our second half defense, our second half energy can't be that way because, I mean, it was a track meet. They were trying to press, and they were kind of letting them go, and the defensive energy just wasn't there in the second half. I realize you're up 25, but come on, boys. There's guys that got a little money on the game.
Did you bet on it?
that's what it was.
Absolutely.
How'd that go?
Degenerate.
Well, not great. I did second half over to clear my debt,
okay.
so we're good, but I wanted to win both.
When I walked into the watch party, Jack and Lloyd had bet the first to 15
That's the best bet in sports.
in the game. And LSU was nearing the barrier of 15, and then once they crossed it, the roof nearly popped off the front of this place.
Well, we almost did it with the alley-oop. The alley-oop that never was.
That's right.
That's a great way,
Golly, it was
to
wide open.
get going.
That Eric Gaines baseline drive was sick yesterday. I thought that our guy said it best on ESPN. Who's the guy with the Boston accent on ESPN that he's on SEC? It's Pat.
Oh, the guy that looks like a corpse?
Yeah.
He looks like he works in a morgue.
Yeah. He said it best about Eric Gaines. He said he doesn't. He only jumps as high as he needs to. You know what I mean? It's like you still don't even know what's his ceiling, because it just feels like he jumps as high as he needs to, and he did that on that baseline drive where I mean, he cradles the basketball
cool.
and makes it look so simple.
And that wasn't even his coolest play. It was the one where he let the guy go by him in the air.
The left-handed block
just popped it out of his hand. He was just levitating.
I mean, I hate to be in the moment, but that's one of the most athletic plays I've ever seen on a basketball floor. To let somebody go by you and then you jump while they're in the air. And well, he did foul the hell out of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, right. But, I mean, for the sake of the argument, what a beautiful highlight. I mean, it was incredible. It was an incredible
It was
play.
him jumping and going, I can be up here as long as you want me to be. Like, whenever you start coming down, I'm still going up. It was unbelievable.
Daily, our show is brought to you by